Okay, so hence or otherwise, find the possible equations of K2. Now, to get the equation of any circle, the formula we normally use, again, this one on page 19, is this one, x minus h to be squared plus y minus k to be squared equals r squared. Now, we have the radius, so there's no problem with the radius. The radius is 10, so that's 100. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is we don't have the center. We don't have the HK. Now, so how do we go about doing that? Well, it says hence. Now, any mention of hence would suggest that what you've just done, so let's rewrite what we've just done, should help us get closer to the answer. Now, you might be looking at this going, there is no HK. Now, just remember, on page 19, the HK is the center. But in the formula, when you're given the equation, the center is minus G minus F. So essentially, if you find minus G, you found H. And if you find minus F, you found K. So, and I can see why this would have been a little bit confusing. So I'll say that again. To get the equation of any circle, this is the formula you use, page 19. We have the radius. What we don't have is the center. We're told hence, so we're kind of using the last bit of information to help us here. In this information, we have G and F. G and F is just a kind of another version of the center. So we've two formulas. The long one, bottom of the page 19, is usually used when we're given the equation of a circle. So that's kind of how we ended up getting this one here. So ultimately, we need to do something here with the G and F. So the only other bit of information we know and that we haven't used is this thing about this line. So this line, 4x plus 3y minus 9. So 4x plus 3y minus 9 apparently has the center on it. So minus G minus F is on this line. So all I have to do really is fill in the center, minus G minus F, into this line. Now, at this stage, I suppose we still have the problem that we still have two unknowns. I mean, we always want to get closer to having one unknown. So a good thing to do at this stage is we're going to isolate one of the letters. So I'm just going to pick F. It doesn't really matter. I picked F because I know that the 3 will work with the 9. So I'm going to have to divide everything by 3. So 4 over 3 G minus 3. So that's why I picked the F. I just thought it would work nice with the 9, whereas the 4 wouldn't. So I have an expression now for F. So if I use the thing that I was advised to use in the question, and I now put this in the place of F, I end up with just one variable, and that's a place I want to be in. You know, having one variable is what we want. I'm also going to just do the squared part. I think it will just make it easier for later on. So minus 4g over 3 minus 3. So that's going in the place of F minus 1. And that's squared. So I'm literally just going to write it twice. And then it's 225. So this should just be a case of me solving for G, then going back to get F. And as soon as I have my F and G, I can fill it in to get the equation. So multiplying out brackets. So it's not hard really, it's just kind of time consuming. So multiplying out the brackets here, I get that. Now, just be a little bit careful now with multiplying these ones out. They're a little bit harder. So we're going to multiply the two of these. So minus by minus is plus. 4 by 4 is 16. G squared over 9. Actually, I should have tidied this up, so I might just do it now if that's okay. I'm going to change that to minus 4. It's just going to be easier for my multiplying out. Sorry, I should have done that first. But anyway, you can see that minus 3 minus 1 can be written as minus 4. Okay, so now I'm going to multiply minus by minus is plus. I have 4 by 4, so 16g over 3. I'm now going to multiply the two of these. Minus by minus is plus 16g over 3. Minus by minus is plus 16. So this is where we're at now. Okay, so I have a 9 underneath the line. So I think I'm just going to write everything over 9. I think that'll just be the easiest way to do it. So that's going to become 81. This is going to become 27. And this is going to be 27. And this is going to be 9g squared. Now this one's already over 9, so that's just 16g squared. Now this one I'm just going to have to triple it because it's over 3. So whatever change I make to the bottom, I make to the top. So if I triple the bottom, I triple the top. 48g, 48g. And then I'm going to have to multiply 16 by 9, which is 144, equals to 225 over 1. So I'm going to cross multiply. So at this stage, I might try and start kind of tidying up as well. So 25g squared there. Now I have a 27 plus a 27 plus a 48 plus a 48. So putting all my g's together, I actually have 150g. So I've done all the g's. Now I have 81 and 144, which is 225, and I'm going to cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply 9 by the 225 on the other side. So that's 2025. So this is forming into a quadratic. So I'm going to do my minus b on this, 225 minus 2025 minus 1800. Now, I might just speed this up a little bit. Once you do the minus b formula on that, g comes out to be 6 and f comes out to be minus 12. Oh, no, sorry. No, I'm after, what am I after doing there? G, no, yeah, so there is no f. They're both g. Sorry. So g comes out. So after I do my minus b, so check that out in your calculator. G is 6 or g is minus 12. They're the two things that come out. Now, if I go back up here, I now can go back and figure out f using my g. So if g equals 6, I end up with minus 4 times 6 over 3 minus 3 is f. So that's minus 24 over 3. So that's minus 8 minus 3. So f comes out to be minus 11. So when g is 6, f is 11, minus 11. Now, what if g is minus 12? So I'm going to do that here. If g is minus 12, then I end up with minus 4 times minus 12 over 3 minus 3 equals f. So that's going to be what? Positive 48 over 3. So that is 16. So 16 minus 3 is f. So f turns out to be 13. So when g is minus 12, f is 13. Now that I have g and f, if I go back to my opening sentence, so the center is minus g minus f. So one possible center is minus 6, 11. Minus g minus f here. So in other words, you kind of have to change the sign really because of the minuses. This ends up becoming 12 minus 13. And now that I have my centers, I can label them HK. And then the formula that we normally use is x minus h to be squared plus y minus k to be squared equals, well, we had 100 there already from the beginning of the question. So that's going to be x. So I'll just do the first one. So I'll just color coordinate them. So I'll just do this one first, the pink one. So if I do the pink one, it's going to be plus 6 to be squared plus y minus 11 to be squared is equal to 100. So when I fill in the pink one, I get this equation. Now I'm going to do it again, but this time I'm going to fill in the yellow. So I'm going to put the yellow in. But the same formula. So this time minus 12 to be squared plus y minus k. So that's going to be positive 13 squared is equal to 100. And I'm done. So the yellow. So there are my two. K2 could be the pink one. K2 could be the pink one. Or this K2 could be the yellow. We don't know. There are the two possibilities.